Google decided to remove Black History Month from their Google calendar. Well, put it up for a mass. I got some words. Google's changes to its calendar to remove the beginning of Pride and Black History Month has now sparked reaction. Google has removed cultural observances, including Pride Day, Women's History Month, Black History Month, Holocaust Remembrance Day, Jewish Heritage Month, and Indigenous People Month, and other celebratory events from the Google calendar. So Google is reporting the changes actually began in 2024. A Google spokesperson told Business Insider that, quote, some years ago, its calendar team began manually adding a broader set of cultural moments in a wide number of countries around the world. They then added, quote, we got feedback that some other events and countries were missing, and maintaining hundreds of moments manually and consistently globally wasn't scalable for or sustainable. The Google spokesperson said, it's just a coincidence that it happened during the rise of white supremacy. I mean, the fact that it happened right at the rise of white supremacy again in America, big coincidence. It was actually because of this other thing, this globalization thing. We just didn't have the ability to sustain it. Really, Google, you got money, you got people, you're a huge corporate conglomerate, but you just don't have the bandwidth. Spokesperson said that sometimes, at some point in mid-2024, Google Calendar began showing only public holidays and national observances from outside company timeanddate.com. Google said that users can still manually add, quote, important moments to their personal calendars by customizing which holidays they show or subscribe to. While the removal of Pride and Black History Month by default on Google Calendar appeared to generate some of the strongest reactions from users across the political spectrum, Google also removed other celebratory events, including Teachers' Day. Google Maps renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America for U.S. users on Monday following an executive order Trump issued in January. Apple also changed Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America based on Trump's executive order. The U.S. Geographic Names Information System officially updated the name late Sunday. Microsoft has also made the name change on its Bing Maps. The Associated Press, which provides news around the world to multiple audiences, will refer to the Gulf of Mexico by its original name, which is it has carried for 400 years, while acknowledging the name Gulf of America. The company also recently ended diversity-related hiring goals. In a memo sent last week, Google said it would no longer pursue hiring targets tied to representation. The company also said it would review its DEI programs and initiatives. That likely means simply get rid of them. Quote, as a federal contractor, our teams are also evaluating changes required following recent court decisions and executive orders on this topic. A Google spokesperson previously said in the statement about the search giant's DEI policies. The other companies like Meta have made similar policy changes since Trump's reelection, January. Meta announced it would roll back its diversity programs and no longer have a team focused on DEI. The social media company also changed its content moderation guidelines and replaced fact checkers with community notes. What are you seeing? Well, you're seeing the lack of fortitude, the lack of heart, the lack of care. But why should a corporation have any of that? You're also seeing what happens when corporations are entangled with governmental contracts. One thing all of these entities have in common, on some level, they have contracts with the government. And on all levels, they are connected in the scheme of governmental authority or oversight. And instead of standing up for what is right, they are deciding to let you know who and what's important to them and who is not. So they put you on the chopping block. You, me, we're the ones who made them all they can be, from Google to everything else. Without the people, they are nothing. Government did not make them what they are today. It was because of the consumerism of you and I. They have forgotten that sacred dynamic. You probably should remind them. All right, Yasmin, thoughts?
Yeah, this is exhausting, which is what they all want it to be for a lot of us. What's so exhausting about it is that all of these things, all of this recognition and various groups at the national, federal level have been fought for decades. And now one sensitive white man is undoing all of it. And that aside, it's obviously very upsetting for so many good reasons for so many different groups of people. But aside from the obvious, what is Trump even doing right now? I'll tell you one thing, it is not this. This is not what he's doing. Not really. This is just a thing that he is doing to upset people. He is still gutting our government and dismantling our federal departments and probably selling our personal data to Elon's international friends. We don't know what he's doing with all this data. This whole thing that he's doing, outlawing paper straws, renaming the Gulf of Mexico, it is all just low hanging rage bait. So please do not fall for it. Also, just a reminder to people, just because these things are no longer on Google, it doesn't mean that they still can't be celebrated or acknowledged. Google is not the gatekeeper here. The people who have fought for these things in the first place will continue to fight for things like equity and diversity and the representation of marginalized groups. They have never stopped, and they're not going to stop just because it's not on Google anymore.
That's right. And in a way, it forces all of us to be reminded that these particular celebrations came from the heart and souls of those who were adversely impacted by the bigoted policies of their day. These bigoted policies have come back. They are roaring as a lion, which simply means it is time to fight again. And Yasmin, I echo your sentiment. They did not bring these to us, these companies, and they will not take them away. But it is time for us to secure and enhance the progress that we have made.